All right, so I just saw Deadpool and Wolverine. Let's talk about it. So this is directed by Sean Levy, stars Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. Don't leave me just yet. Now, there are some of you who will dip at this point and you don't want to hear anything I have to say until you've seen the movie yourself, and I respect that. But listen to me very carefully before you go. You need to go into this movie as blind as possible. Watch as few trailers as possible, as few interviews as possible. Do not read any reviews. Any of your friends who have seen the movie already, don't let them talk to you about the movie. As blind as possible. There are also some of you who are like, I'll just wait to see it on streaming. Nope, not this one. You need to see this in a theater, and I would see it this week while you can see it in a full theater. This needs to be experienced with a crowd. That being said, on to the review. So this is the third film in the Deadpool franchise. It is the first Deadpool movie out of the Disney house. Before that, it was 20th Century Fox. Now, I'm about to upset a lot of you. I have not seen the first two Deadpool movies. Let me correct that. I started to watch the first one and I couldn't finish it. There's nothing wrong with it. I just suck at watching new movies, new for me, at home. I can't concentrate. I can't focus. If they had re-released Deadpool 1 and 2 in theaters, I would have watched it. I would have just gone to the movie theater, paid tickets to see it, and watched it that way. Watching it at home, absolutely not. I need a grown people fidget toy. Now, being that I am completely Deadpool ignorant, and I'm not a real big fan of Marvel in general, I've seen several Marvel movies and I like what I've seen, but I wouldn't call myself a fan per se. If I'm interested, if I'm curious, I go see it. But for the most part, I'm not lining up around the block. So being I am who I am, I'm not that well up to date on all things Deadpool, nor am I up to date on all things Marvel. Do you need to watch all the Deadpool movies or any of the Marvel movies in order to understand what's going on here? No. There are a couple of little flashback moments to kind of give you an idea as to where they've been. And we're at a place in Wade Wilson, Deadpool's life, where you can kind of get a good sense of what's happened in the past and where he is now and where he wants to go. You do not need all that backstory, so you don't need to sit down for 4 hours and watch the previous films. You'll be all right if you haven't, I promise. Now, of course, if you have seen the first two films, there are obviously going to be things that you're going to catch that I didn't. And that's going to make it a more fun experience for you, but I don't feel like I missed anything. Now, let's start with the bad and get that out of the way. Now, the one big complaint I have about this movie is that it was missing something, an emotional anchor. Do movies need to have an emotional anchor? Not always, but it was just noticeably absent. It's almost like it was necessary to the plot, an emotional anchor, and it just wasn't really there. A lot of the emotional weight was put on Wolverine's shoulders because, Wade Wilson is Wade Wilson and he turns everything into a joke, but he's obviously dealing with some internal, self-confidence, self-esteem, wanting to figure out what his purpose is, wanting to be more than what he has been kind of deal. But a lot of the emotional weight was just placed onto Wolverine's shoulders, and it's just a lot for him to carry, and I don't think he carried it very well. So that emotional depth, that emotional anchor is just missing. That's basically it. That if I had anything negative to say about the movie, that would be it. Do I think you're going to care that this movie is missing that emotional anchor? No, absolutely not. I don't think you're going to care. You're not here for that. You're not showing up to this to watch a heartwarming story about two anti-heroes. No, you're here to have a damn good time. And this movie is a damn good time. That was so much fun. Now, while I am not a big Marvel fan, I will say that Marvel fans are the best people to watch movies with. I don't know the two dudes sitting next to me. I call them Harry and Jack. Harry and Jack were having the time of their life. They were losing their minds. This movie is so freaking funny. It's so much fun. It's a good freaking time. I'm going to say it again. Go into this movie as blind as possible. Now, remember what I said. I am not all that up to date when it comes to Marvel. I'm not a big superhero movie fan. I like Batman. I like Tim Burton's Batman, and I like Christopher Nolan's Batman. That's it. That's really it for me. Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. It's nostalgic for me. I like the first Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield. I'm not really big on superhero movies. Not at all. So I will say this. You don't need to be up to date on any of all of that. You just need to have a basic understanding of a superhero movie to really enjoy what you're going to see in this movie. Does that make sense? I know a lot of Marvel, and this is the problem with Marvel, is that you feel like you have to watch umpteenth movies, this many television shows, in order to understand what's going on. Because for whatever reason, Marvel seems to, whenever they put these characters on the big screen, they give us no character development. We have no idea who these people are. This is a completely different direction for Marvel in terms of character development. Yes, we have these characters, some legacy characters in here, people that we've seen before. We have Deadpool, who has 2 previous movies. And yet, if you've never really dipped your toes into any of this extra in the superhero universe, you still have a good idea as to who Wade Wilson is, what his objective is, what his goals and desires are, what his wants and needs are, and how he feels about himself. I can't brag enough about the character development in this. And I think it's because Marvel has just sucked at it for so long in terms of character development, because they make you do homework. Like, in order for you to really get the fullness of a character, you have to do your homework. You don't have to do nothing, okay? No homework needed. No homework necessary. I cannot stress that enough. I am very grateful for that. Now, what I have seen of the first Deadpool movie, obviously the breaking of the fourth wall is huge. Now, breaking of the fourth wall means when they acknowledge the audience. They acknowledge that it's a movie. They kind of take themselves away from the cinema of it all and make us, the audience, part of the experience. That's what makes the first movie so fun, at least what I've seen of it anyway. This takes that breaking of the fourth wall to the extreme. It's extra. It's more. This is almost satire. We don't go a scene without some acknowledgement that we are in a movie. It almost felt like an amusement park ride. You know when you go to an amusement park and you have those interactive rides where you might be on like a car or something and it's moving around this way and then that way, and they might spray water on you, and there's always that one character from the movie that's interacting with you like, come on guys, we have to go, we have to do this. That's kind of what it felt like. This was a very interactive movie. I felt like I was very much a part of this experience. Like I was in on the joke. The biggest failure here, though, is like the attempt to make Ryan Reynolds unattractive. I don't care what you do to that man. You can make him look like moldy mozzarella cheese all you want. You cannot make that man unattractive, especially when you put him in that dang suit. I've been obsessed with him since he went crazy in Amityville Horror. That's a tall drink of water, I swear. I would talk about Hugh Jackman, but there are children on this app. Speaking of children, do not bring your children. It's R-rated for a reason. This is not for your child. But it's a superhero movie. Yes, it's a superhero movie for grown people. Do not bring your child. Now, if you've been with me a while, you already know what my favorite part was. The carnage. So much unnecessary blood and guts. And I was just in heaven. I will say the storyline in and of itself is absolutely ridiculous and just, it feels kind of out of place. It almost feels like they just had to come up with something in order to put these two in a movie together. But I think that's part of the joke. Yeah, like it's almost like it's just ridiculous and campy on purpose. This movie does not take itself seriously at all. This movie's about to clean house at the box office, and as it should.